Hey, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. This is Jesse Lisson with HealthiestYou. I want to thank you so much for attending our webinar today. We will be focusing a lot today on tools, and that tools will vary from our partner portal, the great tools for our broker and consultant partners, to our client portal, and show you ways that we are helping clients make terms and ads very easy, among other things. And then also we're going to run through some of our technology. So before we get started onto the presentation side, I'm going to pass things over to Pat, sir, for an introduction. Pat, go ahead.
Thanks, Jesse. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are, everyone. This is Pat, sir, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be with you today talking. And I'm really excited that Jesse's going to spend time talking about our tools, both from a partner perspective, from a client perspective, because really that is a big differentiator for HealthiestYou. We spend a lot of time talking about our powerful value story, and we probably don't spend enough time educating everyone on the great tools and services we have, which, by the way, are homegrown. They've been built for our business. They've been built for you to help you be effective in selling our products. So I'm really glad we're spending time on that today. I wanted to just make a few sort of higher level comments. I've been flying around the country a bit, speaking at some conferences, and it's been really interesting talking about HealthiestYou. And some of the speaking engagements I've been at have really been more around continuing ed and things of that nature. So I really couldn't talk a lot specifically about HealthiestYou, but I could talk about sort of the industry, and I just thought I'd share a few thoughts with you and how I've sort of framed that up in these speeches. But number one, we all know there's a huge challenge out there for your customers. The medical expenses are going through the roof, and ACA has certainly accelerated that. And as a result of that, there's been tremendous opportunities, frankly, because there's been so much innovation in the market. There's just this mad scramble to try to come up with solutions to lower medical expenses. When I was in my past life in the venture business, I had an opportunity to look at a lot of these solutions, and as a matter of fact, that's how I got to know HealthiestYou and ultimately joined HealthiestYou, because I was so impressed with HealthiestYou's ability to lower medical expenses. And one of the big challenges out there with all these great innovative tools and services is getting people to use them. It's a huge challenge. And at the end of the day, the big issue is, how do we change people's habits and behaviors? And that's really what excites me about what we're doing here at HealthiestYou, because when you think about it, that's really what we are focused on doing. When you think about the Ubers of the world and the Airbnb and the Amazons and the Open Tables, what do they all have in common? Well, one, their valuations are really high, but two, they don't own any of the product. They're focused on the consumer experience. Uber is focused on getting you to use cars, right? And to take advantage of those services. They don't own the cars. And when we think about our model at HealthiestYou, that's exactly what we're doing. I'm standing here in Arizona, I'm looking out at our client success team. They are on the phone all day long talking to your customers, educating, doing webinars, running marketing campaigns. I mean, this is blocking and tackling, trying to create education and awareness with your customers, so at that point in time where they need care, they're thinking of HealthiestYou. And as a result of that, we drive extremely high utilization and usage of our services, which at the end of the day lowers medical expenses. And so I just want you to think about, as you're out there evaluating tools and services to bring to your clients, it's as much about getting them to use those tools and services as it is about the quality of those tools and services. And we think our value story really gets at both of those things. So I just wanted to mention that. And last week, Jesse and I had an opportunity to actually, through a broker, participate at an association, an event. And at this association event, we had an opportunity to pitch our value story to lots of employers. And it was so much fun just to be able to talk to the actual buyers about what we do. And the thing that amazed me is virtually every one of them thought that HealthiestYou could help them. Virtually every one of them said, look, I want a webinar, right, Jesse?
Yeah.
They were like, I need to know more. We need this. Most of them didn't even have telehealth as an example. Or if they had telehealth, nobody's using it, right? And they completely get that they have high deductibles and it's costing their employees a fortune by putting HealthiestYou in. And the 70% of the reasons the employees were going to the doctor, they can now access our providers. It just completely resonated with them. So the timing of our offering is just absolutely perfect. These employers, and we saw it firsthand, were so excited to learn more about what we're doing. And so I would just really encourage you, just a final sort of closing comment before I turn it back to Jesse, is if you're out prospecting, if you're out looking for new clients, for that matter, your current clients too. But a good friend, a broker of mine, I think said it very, very well. He said, when I go out and prospect, I ask the employer, hey, what's the last really great idea your current consultant has brought to you? The last great innovation that is going to help you lower your medical expenses. And then he said, I just kind of go silent. And he said, it's amazing. They don't have a good, they can't even, remember one. And he goes, well, let me come in and talk to you about something that I think is going to bring tremendous value to you. It's called HealthiestYou. So I would just ask you to think about that, both for your clients. Don't be that broker that didn't bring the idea to your clients. Obviously we want you sharing our HealthiestYou story, and we want to help you. Our salespeople are here to help you share our story with your clients. But in addition to that, I would really encourage you to think about how you might prospect for new clients by leveraging HealthiestYou. So with that, I sure appreciate you giving me some time here, Jesse, to talk to the group. And again, thank you for you taking time out of your busy schedules to, listen and learn more about HealthiestYou. Back to you, Jesse.
All right, thanks very much, Pat. All right, everyone. So first off, I'd like to walk us all through the product. I'm sure some of you on the call today haven't heard, much about HealthiestYou yet, but you're interested. Maybe others are familiar with HealthiestYou, but I want to walk you through. I think what's important is where we've come from, why we are what we are now. A lot of it was based on we learned from history, learned from doing things in a different way that wasn't impactful. And also, I'm sure you're all aware that we are giving away an iWatch today. We are going to announce that via email shortly after the webinar. So we'll see a message coming out there at some point. But hang on the line. We want to draw from the people that stay on the whole thing. So we'll keep you all posted on that. So first thing, HealthiestYou, let's talk about the history real briefly. We actually were very similar for a while back to what you see out there a lot now, which is a bolt-on product, nothing in the way of an engagement strategy, nothing designed to change behavior. So what happens is it got tucked away in a medical plan. Everyone forgot they had it, very low utilization. As quickly as groups would come on board, groups were dropping out. So not too long ago, our leadership team looked and said, we've got to find a way to change this model. It's not impactful. So either we get people using the service, or we're going to have to figure something else out. And that's when we said, all right, let's focus on, well, first was more on awareness, employee awareness through the group. So we'd work with the group administrator, help them market it out. And then shortly after with that, and that's our client success team, shortly after that, now just fairly recently, we said, well, let's launch some technology to complement that. So now you've got a strategy that's pretty powerful. You've got a client success team that's changing behavior through education. So they're working with the group, they're helping the group get the word out to the employees, the benefits stay top of mind, everybody wins. Then we get somebody to download our smartphone app, or maybe they visit our member portal or go through a tablet, smartwatch, pretty soon a smart TV. Well, now we've got a great way to not only engage those folks, but we're going to bring them back to HealthiestYou for different reasons. All of it's designed to keep our benefit top of mind, right? And in doing so, raise telehealth utilization. So you think about, Pat had mentioned these companies, great companies, they're all connectors, and that's what we're doing. We've developed a platform that connects the consumer to the most efficient and affordable path to care possible. And the platform is designed to be a lot more than just telehealth, and I'm going to walk you through all this. But that's the important piece. If we're just telehealth, if that's all we did, and we didn't engage you, so we're just a telehealth company that provides access, well, maybe I get sick twice a year, right? So there are two opportunities for me to call, my telehealth provider. The odds of me remembering those, if I'm not engaged, not aware of it, are pretty slim, which is why the industry sees extremely low utilization on the telehealth side. So this is designed to keep you coming back. All of the commonly used healthcare endpoints are tucked in our smartphone app, member portal, basically any of our technology touch points for the member. And we're going to catch you. And we're going to stay top of mind because we're going to help you out with more things than just when you're sick. Very user-friendly experience. So no matter where you are with technology, we can help you out. We have companies that the folks don't really like to use their smartphone, right? They use it more just to dial out. So we advertise the heck out of an 800 number, and we've had groups achieve extremely high utilization. But obviously, if you are adept with technology, we have even more tools for you as well. But no matter where you are, no matter where your groups are, we're going to be able to help them out. That's what we do, is we remove barriers and then change behavior, raise awareness, and so on. I've been talking with a lot of people about this recently, and we've discussed this article, but as Pat mentioned, the market is absolutely ripe right now for HealthiestYou. I was shocked by the number of companies last week that had never heard of telehealth. And we're not talking about just small companies. These are companies that ranging, 20 employees up to 300, 700. They had never heard of telehealth. And they're all talking about, we had to go to a higher deductible plan. The cost is just becoming too much. So, well, how can we help you? Well, let's bridge the gap to care. Let's bring in HealthiestYou. Let's discuss what we can do to help not only you, but help your employees. And let's do it in a really affordable way. But as an example, I've been here now at HealthiestYou for 2.5 years, and we've gone from 12,000 primary lives, I think, up now to 391,000, probably a little more. The growth is exponential. And then thanks to all of you on the phone, but it's just, I state that because the market is perfect for what we're doing. It's absolutely perfect. There are a lot of changes in healthcare. A lot of the cost is shifting, right, from the plan actually over to the consumer. Well, how do you bridge that gap? You bring in HealthiestYou. And then you see it on the slide. There are reasons for it. It's more convenient. It's far more affordable. We can handle over 70% of needs. So let's start there. Let's build a plan around that if the plan's not already driving people to us, and then help everybody. It's a win-win. Primarily our offering is handling acute illnesses. We get questions. The two big questions we get if you're thinking about them. Well, how do you help out with strep throat? How do you help out with urinary tract infection? You can't do a lab for these things. It's a good question, and I just want to make sure we touch on those today. The doctors in the network are trained to ask the right questions, and the goal of the questioning, especially with these two, is to determine if it's not a viral infection. If it's not a virus, we know it's bacterial. So that's how that goes. They're going to ask the right questions to eliminate the fact that it's a virus, and we'll know it's bacterial. If they can't do that, then they won't prescribe anything. The percentage of prescriptions written with telehealth compared to an in-office visit is flat. They will range depending on the time of year, 62 to 67%. So we're running right there. Another important point I always like to point out: every doctor that goes through medical school is taught that 80% of their diagnoses will be based on health history and symptom information. That's it. They're not even seeing the patient, not touching the patient. Literally, health history, symptom information. That's what a telehealth consult is. It's the same concept. So something to think about there. We have a great network of physicians, about 2,000 right now available in every state except for Arkansas. Of course, able to diagnose, treat, and prescribe over the phone. The common question I get is, what can a doctor prescribe for? When should somebody call HealthiestYou? There are two ways to answer it. First one, if it's not an emergency, I would say call HealthiestYou first. Right? Most of our plans are no consult fee, so why not start there? If for some reason you're the 6% of people we can't help, then go ahead and access your standard care. Right? Another important thing is the doctors will not prescribe anything that's potentially harmful or addictive. So if you're falling under that category, maybe you're suffering from chronic back pain, whatever it might be outside. Again, it doesn't hurt to call to ask, right? It's something we can possibly help with. It's never going to hurt to call HealthiestYou first. Again, it's free, and it's a heck of a lot more affordable, more convenient than having to go in person. So a couple of important stats on this slide. We always like to cover them. First one is the 97% customer satisfaction rating. That is the reason we focus on member engagement and behavior change, because we understand when someone calls the first time, more than likely they're going to love the experience, and then we've got them. They will call again and again. That boosts the telehealth utilization. So our goal is to remove every barrier we possibly can and also keep our benefit top of mind. I mentioned this just a second ago. 94% of our calls are resolved. So we do have 6% that fall outside the spectrum of what telehealth can do, and then that member would be referred to, in-office care. Callback times are fast. Of course, the majority of our plans are a $0 consultation fee. The market still isn't ready for a consult fee. It's been proven time and time again. If you look at any embedded models that feature a $40 consult fee, well, there are a couple of problems. No strategy to change behavior. The engagement's pretty low. But when somebody goes to use it, they're told they have to pay $40 to $50. Well, guess what happens? They'll generally hang up. That's why we see less than 1% utilization on an embedded model. But the market's not there yet. It will be. We do think it will eventually because telehealth will be so ingrained. But right now, that consult fee is still a big barrier, right? You got to think about behavior change. We're all creatures of habit, so let's make it as easy as possible. Of course, retention is really high because people use the service. We've talked about that. I won't beat a dead horse. Health plan savings. We're going to talk about a case study in a little bit, but every time somebody calls HealthiestYou, and this is according to a large payer partner of ours, we'll save a self-funded or level-funded company $291. So something to think about. So they take anything we can handle and figure out what that means to the plan. It's $291. And then we can use that to create an ROI for the group. And again, we'll talk through that in more detail. All right. So what do we do? What's the big piece of what we do is client success. This is this is necessary. Without a client success team, I think Pat mentioned it, if you have innovation and tools that no one uses, what good are they? Well, without our client success team, we aren't getting people to our smartphone app. They are essential. They've got to help out. They've got to help the group. And also, you all on the phone are essential. We always think of it as three ways. It's the broker, consultant, working the case, maybe an account manager, right, account executive, our client success team, and then a cheerleader at the group. If you get those three people working together, you are going to have good results. You just will. But this gives you an outline of what the client success team does. It's a lot of things. If it were easy, everybody would do it. I think that's one thing. But our team does an awesome job of keeping in touch with every group, providing anything they can to help drive engagement, awareness, and then, of course, telehealth utilization. But it starts with the launch of the group, and it's there throughout the year. We always say, for us, the work starts after the group is effective, which I think is a flip from the industry. Generally speaking, the industry, they work hard at getting the deal, but once the deal is closed, you don't really hear from them anymore. That's a big problem. If that's the model, it's not going to have an effect on anything. So we say is let's get them going instantly, and let's work really hard to drive home that HealthiestYou is there, and then make the product actually valuable for those folks. We do still send fulfillment out to every employee. It may change a little bit soon, but we understand that employees like to get something in the mail. So a lot of what we do is, of course, electronic. Now email is becoming more and more popular with every client. Oftentimes they don't even have paper checks anymore. A lot of things are done electronically. So we do send something out to each employee's home address. And it's just a reminder that they have HealthiestYou. A little different, this arrives 1 to 2 weeks after the group is effective. And you're probably thinking, well, why do we do that? A couple of things. First is we don't want it to arrive before they're effective because that would cause confusion. Member downloads the app, they can't register, they don't know why. Well, it's because they're not effective yet. The other thing is the initial contact is through the email communication. So it's always electronic. So we're going to hit them once electronically, and then we'll hit them again with that physical piece. Some examples of what we're doing to connect, and these are ranging. You're looking at a few different things. Maybe you all received some of these emails about when we made the Inc. 5000 or an upcoming national webinar. Group clients would see something like this. They have a cute kid picking his nose. That was a back-to-school campaign, and we did some posters around that as well. On the far right side, you're seeing retargeting, and I'm sure you've all seen it. You go to an online website to shop, and then you visit another website, you get a banner ad for where you just left. And we're doing the same thing with HealthiestYou. So different ways to keep the benefit top of mind. Some companies still like the physical pieces. We have PDFs that we can share, and then the companies can print those off. You see payroll suppers on the far right side. Some pretty fun things. The one thing you'll notice about our marketing is that we want it to be attention-getting. We don't want it to be boring or something that you'll forget. So it's always a picture, something that looks funny, something that'll make you giggle, something to get your attention. We've done custom campaigns. If we've had groups that are struggling or blocks of business that have been low, we'll do some pretty fun things to get their attention. The HealthiestYou secret sauce was a good one. The flip-flop campaign was pretty fun. We'd send a flip-flop and have them register for the webinar, and if they did, we'd send them another flip-flop. Or the pizza campaign, register for our webinar, and hey, lunch is on us. We're going to send you pizza, and we want you to hear about HealthiestYou. Those are rarely needed because the standalone groups, It's awesome. That's more for maybe some embedded, but we want you to know that we go to great lengths to get utilization. So here's what happens when you do that. We talk about the embedded model, or really anybody else in the space. The utilization is still pretty low. I mean, if you can look at a lot of reporting with others in our industry, I don't ever call it competition because they're not really competitors. They're doing something completely different. It's more of a checkbox style benefit. There's nothing wrong with that. There's some companies that are doing very well. That's just not our style. We want people to use the service. So for us, those of you that haven't seen this, we average 42% utilization on our standalone block. That is far and away the best in the industry. We just went through some processes with the due diligence team, and what they found out after investigating further is any group that has HealthiestYou for over a year will average 58% utilization. We always mention or recommend for groups or brokers, consultants, think about behavior change may take time, right? Year one, you might hit 20% utilization, and you're thinking, oh, we're half of what HealthiestYou averages. But that's not a reason to be discouraged. You've just probably quadrupled the industry average in 1 year, right? And what will happen in year two is that number will about double. So generally 20 turns into 40. Now we're talking, all right, 40, that's good. And then year three, we're going to jump up again, probably another 10 to 20%. So now you're looking at 50 to 60. And that's what we'll generally see. So we always like to, we just like to communicate that sometimes results aren't going to happen right away. That's okay. You just have to give it some time. They will happen. If you give that plan 3 years, let it build up, we're going to be in really good shape. All right, before we get into the smartphone app technology, I want to first walk through our partner portal, and then we're going to show you the client portal. So let's jump into our partner portal first. We're going to talk through a couple of things that I think will be really helpful. Now, some of the bottom menu items on the screen you see are things you don't have. That's just for our internal team, but I do want to show you the tools you do have. So this is our partner portal. Everyone that's listening right now, if you haven't already registered, please do so. When our marketing team sends up a follow-up email to you, there will be a registration link there. This portal is awesome. It's a very easy way to quote clients, to share information. All of our PowerPoints, flyers, enrollment forms, everything you need is in this one place. So excellent resource for you. What you're looking at now is a dashboard. The dashboard would be a snapshot of basically your current pipeline with us. So the number of deals you have going, the volume of those deals. Some quick links are placed here. So we have a great ROI calculator. And I'm going to walk you through how to use it because it may be, I'd say it's intricate until you've used it a few times. Remember, if any of these tools are confusing, you've got a point of contact right on our sales team that's ready to help. I always think of us as more as educators than salespeople, but we're here to help you. That's our only job. So if you do have any questions after this, please reach out to us or we'll be following up with you as well. For those of you that work on group business, you have what's called a personalized site or a landing page. And that's a place where a group client can go to find some information about HealthiestYou and then also request a quote. And when they do so, that sends an email to you with their information, some info about the company, and then of course you can send a proposal and schedule a webinar. That's really the big piece. And that link can be placed on maybe an agency website or whatever you like to use, some social media and so on. And then if you're working on individual business, so if you work with just single people, you don't have to be even writing insurance with them. If you just know people that need HealthiestYou, which I mean, all of us probably understand if somebody's buying their own insurance, they need it, and I mean they'll all be on a high deductible plan. You'll have what's called an individual enrollment site, and that's where an individual can jump in, enter their information, how they'd like to pay, and then they enroll. The beauty of this is it's all tied back to you for commission, and it's completely hands-off. You literally just send them a link. They click on a link and fill out some information. Really straightforward. You can manage some tasks on this site. It'll create some for you, or you can add in your own follow-up. So think of this as like a miniature customer relations management tool, but it can be pretty handy. Then on the bottom here is some insurance news, and I'm sure you all love reading insurance news, but there is some great information that flows through this from many different sources on the web. So instead of you having to jump around, think of this as like a health insurance newspaper. So it's a really nice resource for you. All right, let's get into some of the tools. So proposals. I'm going to show you how to create a proposal. It's really, really hard. I'm just kidding. It's really easy. It takes about a minute. So you click on New Proposal. We just need some pretty basic information here. So we're going to create a test proposal. so that I don't follow up with myself. But all we need for a start date. So when would the group potentially be effective with HealthiestYou? Let's say we're looking at July 1, and we're going to send this to John Doe, and I'll send it to myself. Organization, ABC, company. We don't need anything below that as far as client information is concerned. You could select a state. I'm from the great state of Minnesota, so let's select Minnesota. And then we click on quote. Now quoting, admittedly, we're going to update this page. The only thing we need is the number of employee lives right there in that bottom left cell. Everything else updates for you. Now if you're working on a group that's over 1,000 lives, that will require a custom quote. Then we'd like you to follow up with our team. But let's say you've got a 40 life group. We'd simply type in 40 and then click on Create Proposal. And now we have a proposal. Pretty simple. So now we jump here to Preview and Send. We're going to send that to the client. And now that's sent. There's some pretty fun tools built in. When it goes to the client, it goes in an email. The first time the link is clicked to view that proposal, the client can actually then view the proposal, but of course an email sent to you letting you know that they viewed it and it's a good time to follow up. So you'll understand when that proposal has been opened. And let's take a look at what that proposal appears to be. So you see it's nice. It's for review by your contact at the company name from you, your contact information. Our overview video is embedded here. Some good general information about HealthiestYou as they scroll down. Client can actually accept the proposal. They can request changes, or they can even download it in a PDF version. If they click accept, that email goes to you and it says, hey, your client has accepted the proposal. Then you just have to let us know, hey, we're ready to go, and we'll help you with, get you the enrollment forms if you don't already have them, and we're ready to rock. And if they want to find out a little bit more about, how the service works, what's the cost of not having it. So if you're thinking about maybe out-of-pocket costs for an employee that has a high deductible, maybe savings for a self-funded group, some good information there. And then you can get in touch. That'd be the client can get in touch with either it's you, right, or it'll have our information here as well. So it's a great proposal. As you can see, it's a very simple thing to use. It's a simple thing to create, and I think you'll like that a lot. Let's go to some of your personalized sites. So your landing page. Once you register, you get two sites, and that's your personalized site or your landing page and the enrollment site. So this would be what your landing page looks like. Again, high-level overview of what HealthiestYou is. It's a very straightforward. We don't want to fill this with too much information. We'd like to give them some information, but then have them request a quote with us. And also, let's get them on for a webinar. But then they can jump over here to request a quote. They click this button here, and then they're going to request a quote from you. So whatever site they're on is going to come to you with, hey, I'd like to get a quote about HealthiestYou. Any of those requests will pop back in right here. So I've done some tests, but you'll get the request information here, and basically this is what you need to create a proposal. So it's a great way to spin that around. If you do work with individuals, go to your enrollment site. All you need to do is share with them your URL. Maybe they're at your office, but if not, just email them that link. They click on the link, it comes to your enrollment site. Again, information about HealthiestYou. They like what they see. They click on Enroll Now, enter in some contact information, how they'd like to pay, if it's an individual or family plan, and then they enroll. And that's that. At that time, the credit card's charged for the next month's service, and it's charged that day of the month as long as they're a HealthiestYou member. So it's extremely easy to enroll individuals. And you're probably thinking, the lack of underwriting is pretty awesome, right? It's a very simple process. And then for you all, you can see any enrollments, so any individual that signed up through you here, any groups that have enrolled, and then you can also see your commissions at any time. So, we get a lot of questions. Where do I see my commissions? Actually, it's always in your partner portal. Really easy to get to. And keep in mind, the commissions are paid once the group funds the invoice. So sometimes, as we all know, groups will forget. So don't worry if it doesn't get there. We've got a team that works with anybody that's a little bit behind, but all of your commission payments will be there for you. All right, next tools. Let's just jump to calculators here. So if you'd like to create an ROI report for a client, it can be done. And I like this tool. It's fun. It's great, of course, for, I think it's really for self-funded or level-funded groups. On the fully insured side, it may help if you want to help the group understand the potential savings out of pocket for employees, but I really like it for self-funded groups. So let's say we have a 200 life group, right? So 200 employee lives. We don't need to know how many dependents they have. I always throw in 0 there. I'm going to remove the prescription savings, and I'll tell you why in a moment, but I'd rather talk them through that versus throw that up. Standard pricing, that's good, so we'll have pricing put in. If you want to enter custom, you sure can if it's over 1,000 lives. So now we do, okay, employee price at this would be an $8 PEPM. Again, family is 0. All we're worried about is the employee price. So now let's think about, all right, number of visits. We know the average family of 4 visits to doctor. I think it's like 12 times a year. I like to be conservative, so I'm going to say, all right, let's say the average visit to doctor 6 times a year. That gives us 1,200 visits to work with, and we know a lot of them nowadays are really more towards urgent care and ER. So let's say we say, all right, 200 primary care visits. Let's say we have 800 urgent care, 200 ER. And please forgive me if these numbers are very skewed. I'm just going to throw out numbers, for example purposes. Average cost per occurrence is what I like to use. So if you have their total annual spend from a claims report, we can use that. Sometimes it gets difficult because, well, how do we know maybe something was an inpatient visit and it was very, very costly, something outside the scope of what we can do. I like to use the average per occurrence because I think that's a better number. So let's say 150 on a primary care physician, 250 on an urgent care visit, and 1,100 on an emergency room. Now the 10% number, importantly, that's not telehealth utilization. 10% is saying, all right, of all of these claims, what happens if we redirect 10%, right? So that's 10% out of 1,200. Well, let's see what happens. Let's crunch the numbers. Let's take a look. So here you've got number of insured, 200, and that's just employee lives, right? We're redirecting 120 annual visits. Now that won't be too far off. What is that, about 60% telehealth utilization? Our self-funded groups average about 50% telehealth utilization. So that gives them a pretty good idea. But we're going to say, okay, here's our annual cost. First year return with HealthiestYou, and then you've got a 3-year return with HealthiestYou, and then your ROI percentage. Now some of you may be thinking this looks a little bit too good to be true, but honestly that's about normal. I mean, if you redirect that many claims, there's an impact. The really nice thing about what we're doing is we can really show the group what they're saving, I mean, almost right away. You think about a wellness program, which wellness programs are great, but it's hard to determine an ROI. You really need anywhere from 5 to 10 years to have an idea of the impact it's having. Well, with what we're doing, we can report back on an impact within a month. It's awesome, and I'm going to show you some of those reporting tools as well. But as we scroll down, we're going to show you some more pretty unique information. About half of our consults result in the employee not having to miss work. What does that mean to the group? Well, for this group, it would mean they save just over $17,000 in wages. That's based on the national average hourly wage. You can also take a look at an environmental impact. So savings on, fuel savings, metric tons of CO2, and so on. Some pretty good information. If you want to be more conservative, you just go back to assumptions, and let's change it. So let's jump down to 5%. Let's see what happens. Okay, now where we go. Let's be a little more conservative. 60 consults. So that's 35% utilization. And there's still a return on their investment, 17.19%. So anyway, great reporting tools, and this can be sent to the client via email. Same thing applies. They click on a link to view it. You get an email saying they've done so. We have other tools as well we've kind of built on spreadsheets, but I really like this one. And again, use our team. We'll be more than happy to help you understand how to use the ROI calculator. Next up, our library. We keep a lot of great information here for you. The one thing we all know is everybody gets busy, right? So maybe you've been with us for a while. We need to get you some information, and that's who on us. But everything's always going to be in the partner portal. Our marketing team is doing a great job of keeping all of our documents here. So if you're looking for hey, you've got a group that really likes our prescription drug engine. Well, let's send them a flyer, and then let's lead with this. You can use this almost like a prospecting tool. All of this information can be saved to your computer. It's just a PDF. So you see we've got information about, hey, let's save up to 85% in prescriptions. Download the app today. But anything you need, just check these out. There's some really nice flyers. Again, our team does a really great job of keeping these things attention, keeping the benefit top of mind. So kudos to our marketing team. They're doing a wonderful job. If you'd like to share some utilization reports, these are actually real clients. We de-identified them. But you can take a look at a utilization report. So this is something that the client can actually pull from the client portal, which I'm going to show you. But here you see a utilization report. This group, 91% utilization. They can take a look at the top 5 complaints and prescriptions, when people are calling. If they're self-funded, we have some conservative data showing how it's impacted their plan, and then consults by month. So some great information there. And again, this is all it can be pulled at any time. And we love sharing information. So if you want to use that to show a client, hey, look what can happen, these are great. Enrollment forms are here. The beauty of HealthiestYou, we are, I would say, a very low amount of work for you to earn commission. We need 2 forms. It's a group census template and a group enrollment agreement. That's it. Very easy. If you ever need to view your contract, you can look that up here. And the last one is enrollment. You can enroll yourself. So one thing that, of course, would help you sell HealthiestYou is buy yourself a membership. So we do 2 things. If you're an individual and you want to buy it for yourself, we give you a 30% discount off of our voluntary rate. So we give you 30 points off of $11 if you're buying it just for you, 30 points off of $15 if you'd like to buy it for your family. If you're an agency and you want to make this an agency paid benefit, we give you 25% off of the employer paid rates. And I got to tell you, well, first off, we love having you as members because honestly, you use it one time, you'll never go back. But what a great way to sell it when you can demo the smartphone app. Walk them through the technology and what we do. It's awesome. It's a good tool for you. If you'd like to enroll individuals, you've got some options here as well. So you can email them a link, and again, this just gets them to your enrollment site, or you can use some social media tools as well to get them thinking about HealthiestYou. So that's our partner portal. Again, if you have further questions about it, let's just reach out to us. Again, you'll have a direct point of contact here on our team, and we'll be proactively reaching out to everybody that was on the webinar today as well. Let's jump out to some more tools here. We've got a great client portal I want to share with you. All right, so here's the client portal. So the client portal is designed to make it easy for your clients. I mean, it's simply put, right? If you have clients that utilize an EDI feed, so if they're larger, maybe 50 lives and up, they won't need to use this as much. But the idea here is we know that HR teams are busy, right? They're busy. They don't want to take more on. So maybe they'd be reluctant because, it's one more thing I have to worry about. But we've got a really turnkey system for them. And this is a powerful tool. So first, they have a dashboard where they can view their weather. As you can see, it's getting pretty hot in Arizona now. They can see some information, just news about benefits on the right-hand side, anything they've done recently on the left-hand side. If they jump down, they can view invoices. So anytime they can see their invoices they've paid, maybe invoices that are due and so on. If they need to make changes, they can do that here. The system is awesome. So they literally jump into changes, request a change. They find the member. So let's say we're going to add a member. We have a new hire on board, fill in the information, submit the request. That throws them in the system real time, and now they've just added that person onto their system. They can also term people, and let's say, all right, if you term somebody, it happens real time. Maybe you forgot. Maybe somebody left the company a month ago. Terms can be post-dated as well. They just need to be approved by our team, but that can also happen. They can view members. So everybody that has HealthiestYou can be viewed here. Pretty straightforward. The reporting functionality is probably my favorite. So obviously there's no reporting. This is a demo group, but in this site, the group can see consults year-to-date, their year-to-date utilization just on the telehealth side, what they're trending to, when people are calling. I showed you that report a second ago. It's basically all that information in the dashboard. So if you have I think it's especially powerful really for any group. I mean, if you're a fully insured small group, we want you to know that people are using the service. So just check out your utilization. If you're a big fully insured group where claims experience has an impact on your renewal, well, yeah, let's show you how many claims are being redirected, and let's impact the plan. Let's impact your renewal. If they're self-funded or level-funded, naturally it's awesome because we're going to show them how many claims have been redirected, what types of claims have been redirected, and the impact we've had on the plan. So working together, we can have some awesome results there. So reporting is phenomenal. Some documents here. So if the group says, you know what, I'd like to print out a new break room poster, right? Well, we're going to have some awesome things in here, or maybe just a flyer. And I always like, this is one of my favorites, our back to school flyer. But everything we do is in the system. So at any time, the employer can jump in here, pull up the flyer. They can print that off, or they can just save it and then say they want to email it to everybody. So there we have, all right, here's the nose pick flyer. Pick HealthiestYou first next time you're sick. As you can see, we want to get your attention. So again, everything is here, really, really easy to get to. It makes it pretty simple. So the last thing I want to tell you about is you see a change groups button at the bottom. If you are an agency or a broker that focuses on small groups and you like to make changes for them, so that's part of your value prop is, hey, you know what, if you work with me, I'll make your changes with HealthiestYou. I'll do your ads, I'll do your terms. we can actually help you do that. We have what's called TPA access. So if you'd like to make changes for your group, just get approval from them, send us an email with that approval, and we'll add you in as a TPA for the group, which I know it's third-party administrator, a little different for us, but that allows you to make those changes on the group's behalf. So if that's part of your value prop, we'd love to help you with that. So that's our client portal. All right, we're going to jump back to the deck now. What I'd love to do is let's walk you through some of our technology. So we've got about 20 minutes left. I want to give you an app demo here. So our smartphone app, for those of you that haven't seen it again, the big piece of the app is it's designed to, it's just another way for us to connect, right? To keep the employee engaged, keep them thinking about HealthiestYou for a lot of things that have nothing to do with telehealth. I mean, that's the beauty of it. So when you get into our app, you know, the nice thing is the employee or the member can opt into a newsletter. So they can get an email from us that's basically showing them what's new with HealthiestYou, maybe a new feature, or maybe reminding them that flu season's around the corner or allergy season this year. You know, let's get you thinking about HealthiestYou. Our app is something that's unlike anything else in healthcare. I think it's fair to say that. So the dev team we have has done an amazing job of putting this all together. We've got some great partnerships, some of it's homegrown, but it's all designed to steer the individual to a telehealth consultation or help them out saving some money in many different ways. So, of course, if you need a telehealth consult, you call the doctor. We're going to ask you what would you have done if you didn't call HealthiestYou. Let's say I would have gone to an urgent care, and then I request consult. And then I'm going to get a call back pretty quickly, and we'll get rolling with a telehealth consultation. All right. The next quick link you see is our provider search. So right now we currently sync with about 180 different payers, plans, and TPAs throughout the country. We don't sync with everybody, which is okay. If we don't sync, you can come in here and say, all right, I'd like to find, oh, wait a second, what is this? I'm being told that I need to call the location to confirm they're still in my network or that they're in my network. So everybody receives this disclaimer. We all know that there isn't a single list of a network anywhere in the world that's 100% accurate, right? So the idea is to just help the member, remind them, hey, make sure that whoever you call, they're in your network, and you got to give them a call to find out. Let's say I'm looking for a new primary care doctor, and I'm going to look within about 15 miles of here, update my search. So now the app's using my location to find a primary care doctor in my area. It's not going to show every doctor. Think of this like, I know Scott Sanford and our team always mentions Open Table. Open Table shows you the top-rated restaurants in your area. That's what this is doing. It's showing you the top-rated doctors in your area. And you see you've got a star rating there. So if we wanted to check out Dr. Schnitzer, here's some information about Dr. Schnitzer, where the practice is located, some background information. The most important piece is we're reminding the individual that they can call a doctor. So what's interesting about our app, and if you haven't heard the stat yet, 60% of our consults coming from our smartphone app are coming from that reminder. So what we're doing again is there's some devious intent to this. We're steering the member to a telehealth consultation. We know that more than likely, if you need to talk to a doctor, you can do it over telehealth instead of going in person, right? We can handle over 70% of needs. So we want to remind you to call HealthiestYou. So we're not trying to be a provider directory company by any means. We're using a provider directory to steer you to a telehealth consultation. And also, we're making it really easy to find doctors. So if you do need an in-office physician, one thing you'll find is some of the carrier sites are getting better, but a lot of them, they're having challenges with getting provider information within the site, especially network specific. And that's because they may gobble up other carriers. It's just a lot of data. I mean, it's hard. So what we're trying to do is simplify that process. So we're about 90% accurate with any network data if we sync with your plan. But more importantly, we're just trying to make it easy to find a list of doctors around you, steer you to a telehealth consultation. All right, next piece on the Today page is a prescription pricing tool. This will beat the average copay, well, nowadays, probably almost every time, because most are on a high deductible plan. But if you're not familiar with the world of pharmacy benefit managers, what they do is they'll negotiate a low cash rate between a pharmaceutical company and a pharmacy, right? And that rate will be in place for a set amount of time. It could be a week, it could be 3 days, it could be a month, it could be 3 months. You never know. What our engine does is it searches multiple PBMs, as we call it, to help the member find the lowest cash price on a given prescription in the area. So let's say they need amoxicillin. That's one of our top prescribed medications. So the engine's searching for amoxicillin around me. Now it's interesting, I do this demo, of course, a lot. And these will vary. I mean, I've had, Walgreens has been $4 recently. I'm sorry, Walmart. That's been the most affordable prescription around. And before that, it was $9.61 at Walmart. Before that, it was like $7.62. The prices range a lot. There we go. There's Walmart, $4 again. So now Walmart's still at $4. That's great. I select that option. Now I can show the pharmacist this information, or I can add this to Apple Wallet. Now this also works for Android devices too. What you're pulling is it's basically pulling Walmart's prescription discount that they've negotiated with the maker of amoxicillin. So you're pulling their own coupon. What's really interesting is if you go to Walmart and you go to the counter and say, hey, I've got a prescription for amoxicillin, I'm just going to pay cash. They're not going to stop you and say, oh, let's check our discount card over here. They don't do that. If you ask about it, they will. But they're not going to hand that information over. So we're just going to empower the user of healthcare in this example to have that information before they get there. Or they can shop for it when they get there. It's a great way to save them some time and some money. So great prescription drug tool. For those of you who haven't seen Radar, this is probably one of my favorites. Radar is a real-time map of your location and different points of care around you. And these will range from doctor offices, hospitals, pharmacies, urgent cares, and even veterinarians. And it can be sorted. So let's say, it's Sunday night, it's 11 p.m., and I think I need to go to an urgent care. These are the urgent cares around me. Let's check out a location. So Desert Ridge Urgent Care. Let's check out some details. Oh, wait a second. That's right. I can call a doctor. Again, it happens a lot. People forget. They're looking for an urgent care. They're following their normal routine. But we're going to intercept that and remind them they can make a phone call instead. If their need truly isn't, it's going to require an urgent care visit, then they simply call the number there, touch the green phone button, ask if they're still in network, and so on. But this can be sorted. It's pretty cool. There's also a provider directory function here. So let's say I do need to find a new pediatrician for my kids, but I want to look for in-network options only in my area. Now this map will update with in-network options for pediatricians. Again, it's 90% accurate with us. So the carrier sites will still be more accurate. Ours is 90%, which is great. The nice thing is ours is fast. If you look at that, that was pretty simple. I just found an in-network, pediatrician option in about a minute. I still need to call the location, but that's a heck of a lot easier than some of the other options out there. Other tools we've got, procedure pricing. So, we hear about it time and time again. My population will have to maybe get an MRI done. They get referred somewhere. They don't know that they can go somewhere else. They think they have to go there. Well, let's help them out. So if I need to have an MRI done, punch in MRI. I'm thinking about paying cash. Find that procedure, and let's check it around. We've got a third-party partner that aggregates all of the data in your zip code. So we are in North Phoenix right now, and on average, people are spending about $857 when paying cash for an MRI in this zip code. Some have paid as low as $350, as high as over $1,000. Well, what happens if I want to use my insurance plan? Let's check that out. And again, this is going to sort it by zip code. Let's look for an MRI, find the procedure. Now we have CPT codes, right, because we're using insurance, so we can get a little more in depth. I know they do brain MRIs here, so let's look at a brain MRI. What's been paid? Interesting. The average paid now is $485. Low is almost the same, but the average is $485. The high is still lower. So what this is telling me, it's not specific to my insurance plan, but it's aggregating the network discounts around here and helping me understand how strong those discounts are. So in this example, even though I'm on a high deductible plan, I'm probably better off using insurance because I'm going to save some money out of pocket. Angel, a great team member of mine, we were in Florida, about 6 weeks ago. We did the same thing in Florida. It was actually better to pay cash. I was in Minnesota 2 weeks ago. It was actually better to use insurance. And I went back to Orlando last week. It was actually better to use insurance. So it varies by zip code. It varies by region. But it's a great way to help that member understand their options. So again, it's not right to the penny. Think of it as an estimator, but it's a tool that's needed because there really isn't anything else like it. Now, if we do sync with your plan, HR teams love this. There's my insurance card. There's my deductible balance. Obviously, I call for everything. I don't get sick that often. I'm the only one on this plan. If I do get sick, I call HealthiestYou, of course. And I'm terrible about doing well visits, so I probably need to get rolling on that. But you get the idea here. Network balances, those are, the deductible balance is right to the penny the second the carrier submits that claim into their system. So that's a real-time feed with the carrier. If I have any questions about what coverage I have, if it's active, when it started, I've got that. I'm on a high deductible plan, but if I had co-pays, I can see those here. So it's a really nice tool, easy to use. We also have a great recipe lookup tool. So if, let's say I'm gluten-free, I'm looking for breakfast. We're going to go to breakfast. I'm gluten-free. And I'm looking at, I'd like American food this time around. Let's check it out. So now we've got some ideas. Oh, look at that, gluten-free chocolate chip pancakes. Those sound pretty good. I jump in, and I'm going to see the ingredients, how to make it, and nutritional content. So pretty simple. Now, why are we doing all of this? All of it is just designed to keep you coming back to Healthiest You, right? Our CEO said it best. He's like, we're just building a better mousetrap. That's what we're trying to do. So all of this is designed to keep the benefit top of mind, keep you thinking about Healthiest You. Last piece of circle. So as you're finding things that you use a lot, prescriptions that you're on, maybe it's a maintenance medication. If you're searching for providers and you find a new primary care physician or one you've been using for a while, all of that can be saved as circles. And this becomes your healthcare ecosystem, even the recipe. Why are we doing that? Well, oftentimes you've got a list over here, you've got another list over here, something on your computer. We want to bring that into one place for the member so they come to the Healthiest You app. Or again, things outside of telehealth. It's all about keeping our benefit top of mind. All right, I know we're getting close here, so let's close out of this. I'm going to jump back to the PowerPoint, and we're going to go through just a couple of items quickly before we end. We've done some pretty awesome things on the technology side. You saw the smartphone app. It's awesome. Nothing else like it. We're using that app to catch somebody at their time of need. So we've actually built a virtual boundary around thousands of urgent cares and pharmacies throughout the country. So if we have a Healthiest You member that has downloaded our app, and we can use that example of Sunday evening, to 11 p.m., they go to an urgent care. But once they're within a specific distance of that urgent care, it triggers a notification reminding that member that they can call Healthiest You instead of going to the urgent care, right? And we do the same thing on the pharmacy side. You walk into a pharmacy or you're in the area, triggers that benefit reminder, hey, you can save some money in your prescription. Remember to shop our tool. The goal of this is to not be a big brother. The goal is to change behavior. That's all it is. Catch somebody at their time of need, get them thinking about Healthiest You. These are notifications that can be turned off per member. So once the member's in the habit of calling Healthiest You first, that's awesome. We'll just shut those down. Now, if you're working with self-funded clients, the ROI potential is phenomenal. What this slide is showing you is we're going to use that 291 claim redirection number to determine potential savings for the client. So let's say your group is 500 lives, 500 employee lives, and they hit 42% utilization year one. Based on just claim redirection, they're actually going to make $25,000 on their Healthiest You investment. Now, if they stick with us, right, so they're with us for more than a year and they hit that 58% number, they're going to make $48,390. Now, that 291 is pretty conservative. If you look at others in our space, one of the others in our space reports that anytime somebody calls, it saves the plan over $700. So the opinion varies greatly. I like to use the conservative number because I'd rather overperform than underperform. So the 291 isn't something that somebody would look at and think that's unrealistic. That's a very realistic number. But there isn't another product on the market that can show you an ROI as quickly as telehealth when it's done properly, right? When you're using Healthiest You to redirect those claims and change behavior. And we already saw this, but reporting that the client gets to, this is what didn't pull up when I showed you ours because it's a demo version, but they see some great data. It's available fast. It's a wonderful way for them to think about what's Healthiest You doing for us? How is it helping the group, the employees, and so on? Great case study on a fully insured group. So Slinger School District, they're in Wisconsin. First year with Healthiest You, they hit 86.6% utilization. That is not normal, but it's awesome. And it goes to show you that if someone really stands behind it and they're driving home that message, our client success team's working with them, the broker consultant's working with them, everybody's thinking about start with Healthiest You, you can impact your clients. So these guys, for the first time in years, actually had a 2% decrease on their renewal. And I'm sure everybody on the call is understanding that is very rare right now. And they also use that then to pay the teachers out a bonus for the first time in quite a while. So needless to say, big fans of Healthiest You. On the self-funded side, I think we already get it. There are many ways to do it. This group used the plan to steer folks to Healthiest You because they were having a hard time with urgent care spend. So they raised the deductibles and co-pays, put Healthiest You at the top of this plan, and market the heck out of HealthiestYou. This is the entry point to healthcare. If HealthiestYou can't help you, then go ahead and access those primary, those traditional in-office visits. But before that, let's call HealthiestYou for all the reasons we already know about. Fully insured side, I think the plan design model is almost done, right? You've got some groups that are still probably grandfathered, but that's almost over with. Almost everybody nowadays on the small group side is going to have a high deductible plan, especially if they're community rated. And I know it's different, states are different. If you're community rated under 100, it's really challenging. Even 50 is really challenging. When that happens, HealthiestYou can bridge that gap to care. So you're going to have employees that are confused. You're going to be thinking, well, what do I do now? I'm out of pocket for the first $5,000. What do I do? Well, you plug HealthiestYou in that plan, you bridge the gap to care, and then if you've created enough savings, you can also sell them some other benefits that'll help that specific group. Anything on the supplemental ancillary side, you basically can use HealthiestYou to, I would say, ease the pain, and then you added a couple other things that'll help the group out. So hopefully, in the end, you, the broker consultant, can make some more commission. You've got a stickier client now because HealthiestYou is going to help out in a big way along with those other products that you sold. To get the employees thinking happy thoughts again. But great way to do that. Obviously, we're a perfect match. We sit alongside groups as small as 2, voluntary enrollments, groups over 30,000. We're literally across the board. But as Pat mentioned at the beginning of this call, that the time is now. There has never been a better time for our product. I was floored by the amount of people that still hadn't heard of just the concept of telehealth. And you get telling them about what we do, and they are blown away. It's right. If you just put the effort in, lead with us, it can help you out in a really big way. And then you see our rates here. So employer paid at the top, that's about 99% of our business, employer paid. It's obviously a great thing to use as a benefit for the employees, regardless of how they're funded. Oftentimes, of course, maybe the company is using a benefit to keep people. It's like a retention tool. It's a great way. But again, we can fit alongside just about anywhere. It is also sold on a voluntary basis. So if you do work with individual clients, it's either it's 11 for an individual and 15 for a family, but pretty straightforward. All right, again, I can't tell you enough. Please register for the partner portal. Those tools are awesome. They also allow us to help you. So if you are, let's say you're meeting with somebody, maybe it's a lunch meeting, and they are pumped up. They want a quote from HealthiestYou immediately. You send us a quick email. Hey, I'm meeting with John Doe. John wants a quote. They have 75 employee lives. Would you please send him a proposal? We can actually send that on your behalf from the partner portal. So the partner portal not only allows you to create things, it also allows our team to help you create proposals, ROI reports, whatever we can do to assist, because as you know, our only job is to help you write business. We want to write business together with you. So please do that. Get yourself a membership. It's an awesome way to demo the product, and then use the heck out of us to close business. I've been working with brokers now for 2.5 years. I've got one in Minnesota recently that we think we've presented to 5 groups now, and we're 5 for 5. So when we have an opportunity to show them what HealthiestYou is, get a feel for their needs, discuss how we can help them. It's more of a consultative sell. We very rarely won't get the business. So let us help you out until you are very familiar with the product and feel like you can do it on your own. But until then, that's our job, is we just want to help you be more successful and write some business with HealthiestYou. So in the end, everybody, I know Angel's been answering questions on the computer. We'll be following up with everybody as well. Can't thank you enough for your partnership. Thank you for your time. I know everybody's busy, but I hope this was helpful. I hope you found out some new things through our technology that are designed to help you sell the business, boost the telehealth utilization, help the clients, and so on. And we'll be reaching out soon. And again, keep an eye out for email. We'll be announcing our smartwatch winner pretty soon. So thanks again, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week.